Hello again. Thank you for joining me today. I'm back in my Florals journal, and I have already fussy cut and sized this for this page. And as you can see, I have a light coating of gesso on this shiny page to also to cover the print and illustration. This page is the regular shiny paper that I have done nothing to, and it continues to be incredible to me that a book was printed with that quality paper and an unused page. So, lucky me. So, I'm going to take my ceramic coat pale yellow and white, and I want to do more to get rid of this printing and illustration. So I'm going to basically apply another coat of white, but this white is going to have just the tiniest touch of pale yellow in it. So that that whiteness will be taken off. And when I say a little bit, as you can see, or you will be able to when I pull this over a bit, this is just a tiny bit of yellow. Let me get this mixed. Oh, yellow took over there. That's a little bit, still a little bit too bright for me. I want this to say white with a drop of yellow. Let's see, I think this should do the trick. Yes. All right. And now I'm going to use my card to apply this paint. I shall probably have to put on a few layers, but this has to be covered, or at least I want it to be, for the sake of what I have planned today. Well, that is not quite covering, so I'm going to add some more over top. Just the tiniest bit of yellow added. That's banishing. That's doing the job nicely. Not quite yet. I'm still seeing more than I want to see. I believe that I'm going to declare myself satisfied. And this is going to take a bit of time to dry because there are quite a few coats there. And while that is getting ready to dry, I want to spend a moment talking about this palette that I've made. This is a palette that I found for $2 in my favorite antique mall. And so what I've done is I've taken my entire bit of gouache paints. That's these and the bottom row. And decided to just empty the tubes and have them available for me. These tubes, these are, I believe, Reeves. Student quality gouache. These four, 1, 2, 3, 4, are white, pyrrole red, yellow, and ultramarine blue, and these are good quality gouache Holbeins. So these are going to be, I'm going to be experimenting using these to mix colors. These will be used for the kind of a job that I'm going to be doing today, which is background play. And if I examine this collage bit carefully, we can see that I have a few shades of yellow, and at the tips of these petals a very pretty almost a burgundy rose shade with some markings here, some green added. So that is what I'm going to be doing with the background on this page. But it is going to take a bit of time to get this to dry. I'm going to use my dryer on it. So I will be back, and the grand experiment with gouache on top of acrylic will begin. Well, I've decided that I don't want to use graphite penciling to add some background flowers to this page. So what I'm going to do is use a pencil on this tracing paper so that it will give me an idea of where I can go. Whoops, let's get the plan in motion, Carol. It's good in your head. Now let's see if we can make it work up here. And there. I'm going to do this petal shape. You have a bud down here. I'm wondering if a bud up here mightn't be pretty. And let's have a shadow of a petal over here. And another coming down here. And one more maybe down here. Well, I don't mind those, but this one is too big. There's too much of a straight line on the edge. So let's cut this one down a bit. Let's cut this one down a bit. And bring this one over. And this one, maybe like that. Let's see what we have. And just the suggestion of one down here. Maybe another bud. Well, that should talk to that background. Okay, now I'm going to darken these up so that I can see what I've done. And this one. And this one. And this one. They're large. They're larger than this, but if they're smaller, no, I'm going to go for making a statement today. So I've gotten out my Derwent regular watercolor pencils. This one is Deep Cadmium number 6, and I'm going to use that to draw these show you a close-up of this in a moment, because it is definitely a darker yellow. And then the next one here, down to about halfway. Okay, let's do that one now. Here. And this one. Whoops! Not happening, Carol. Okay. Kind of. And a bud here, but maybe a smaller one. There. Now, I do hope, yes, okay, that you can see that watercolor suggesting the placement of those petals. And I see that I have something missing right here. Okay. Well, now that mission is accomplished. Now to the fun part with the I believe that I'm going to make one, probably this one, to draw the eye down. I'm going to make this one all this color. Why not? Yes, I can. Yes, I will. Right, I need some decent sized brush. I'm going to use a number 12. And I'm getting my undercoat of gouache on here. Because and this one and this one and a little bit on this one, this bud. And let's see about this one. There it is. Now the streaking is due to the fact that it's working on top of acrylic paint. Now, using this as my idea, I'm going to use a little bit of ochre in here. And if this doesn't suit, I can certainly dry this and use it as my under pattern. For acrylic, if I wish. Let's have this a little bit darker up here. A little bit being the operative word. I'm sorry I've gotten quiet, but sometimes I just get into the wishing. Sometimes I get into the phase of wishing, oh my, I wish I hadn't done this, and then I think, well, persevere, Carol, maybe something can be wrung out of it. And I'm going to add some yellow on here to the drier areas. And let's see if I can make this run like watercolor. Now, I'm going to try dry brushing. Well, this dry brushing seems to be darken these edges a little bit. Right, let me dry this a little bit and see what happens, whether or not this can be saved. I've decided to give some time and thought to the facing page on this piece, and I've gotten out my go-to much-loved leaf stencil, and I thought I'd try to introduce the colors found on the focal page by trying to add some of these colors here in a layered fashion. I have to admit, this is something I really enjoy doing, so this is a really big treat for me. And I do like this stencil, so it gets kind of an extra lick. I'm thinking this green I started out with is a little too light, so after these are all finished with this group, I'm going to add just a titch of a little bit more vibrant green to the bottom of the leaves. I've chosen gecko and sunshine and pale yellow, cantaloupe and pink quartz for this bit. This cantaloupe adds just a little bit of punch on each leaf around the central vein area, and it gets topped off with the pink. And the pink lays on top of these other colors very nicely, so I can spot it around where I might want it. Just going to add a little bit of leaf green just to the bottom of some of these. I've wiggled off about 1/16 of an inch here, so let's see if I can wiggle it back. No, well, I'm not going to make a production out of that. Let's see what happens. Yes. Oh, yes. Carried away over there. Let's rub that back a little bit. That's looking a little spotty. There we go. Fingers crossed. I'm afraid that I do like that stencil so much that I'm going to decide I'm happy with it no matter what, but let's see what happens. Oh, yes. Yes. As you can imagine, I'm still in a bit of a quandary over this area right here, but I'm thinking I'm going to have to think of a way to cheat a little bit over here to make myself happier with this section right there. But, all right, now I'm going to dry this and save some of that paint. Maybe I'll use this paper and return to face the dragon. When I worked in my crazy making stitchery and got myself into a such a complicated or a uncomfortable area in a particular piece of work, and usually when I was dealing with dimensional embroidery, I remembered that the trick was, how do I work myself, and my word for it was cheat myself out of the corner that I've gotten myself into. So I thought and thought about various and sundry ways, and all of a sudden, cha-ching, collage upon collage, why not? And I was able to find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little bits that would cover up the areas that were making me the craziest. And so I'm now going to plunk these little saviors down. This one is the most important. And then I'm feeling like I can see, I can go back to seeing the trees instead of just the forest. Let's see now. I want that one to show as a leaf, but I want this one to be like that. Okay, next one. Cover that deep well that I have there. This is such a piece that is just absolutely full of learning. Now I don't want to completely blank out the line of that nice strappy leaf, so I'm going to raise that one a little bit. This one is going to go up in this valley. This one, because of the print under the various layers of collage, and the coloration in this one will rationalize that color a little bit of the print showing, peeping through the multiple layers of paint. And now these two had a little touch of pink on them, and they will help that situation. I do like that there, and I'm happy it's there, but that's kind of the, got too much punch. So, I still get the strappy leaf, I still get the bud, the leaf, bingo. And this side works along right there very nicely. I like this one more than this one, so this one is going to be peeking out under this strappy leaf right there. And, well, hiding a multitude of sins. But such fun to learn to have to think about how to back out of a corner that you paint yourself into. And I was certainly in one, and my basket of small bits of collage came through again. Now I'm going to have a think, and I'm thinking some colored, maybe Le Pen additions might be just what's needed now. I have worked out a plan using these two Le Pens and one Signo Uniball DX, which is a permanent Signo. I've decided to outline in the three colors found on these stencil leaves. So I did those first bits, and I have those to finish. And now I'm working on adding some color to these flowers, petals over here, using my Le Pen Burgundy. It is, this has come in quite handy. Very often this color is lovely. And let's see about adding some. Close this over. Bring this in. Let's add some depth to this coloring on the edge here. And just vaguely suggest the outline of that petal. And then just there. I think we'll declare that. Less is more. And now down here, I'm going to do the old standby, because I think this one is ready to have a little more pizzazz. Make sure that not all of these lines are absolutely ganged up perfectly, because that would not be the way it would look in nature. Able to see the gouache clearly through there, which is very nice. Now Let me have a look to see. Yes, alrighty. My very new Muji pen with his .25 tip might be just what this needs up here. Oh, this is such a wonderful pen. I'm hardly touching this paper and it's right there. Incredible. Every time I lightly touch this paper, there's the ink. Love it. And that speaks for itself, so I think we won't interfere. This one that's behind might do well to have just a smidge of that center brought out. I'm not going to speak to that one either. Now when this add-on is against the main collage, I want to pick it out a little bit, so this one, wow, it's just quite tightly bunched up. It's one of those roses with a gajillion petals. There we go. I need any darkness up in here, any place? Yes, I do. Yes, I do, just to say that there's something special happening here. Now think about this bit, and I have to get back to finishing these, but I think it's starting to turn the corner. Well, as you can see, I'm back to working. I finished outlining these bits on the stencil. I used a ruler to put a nice heavy black line through them on the Pilot G2 number 10, which is my thick one, and just picked 3 and did a little outline, and that might just be calm enough to play off this side. I then decided that all I was going to do over here was add some flowers and maybe some leaves, and that would be getting closer and closer to the finish point. I'm using my Uniball Signo Micro to outline these sketched flowers that I drew on here. We'll do some very light doodling on these. And now for a few leaf inclusions. Not too many or too big. Just a few. Nope. Doing some less is more here. Yes, I think that should do the job. Not happy with this one. I don't know where my head was there. Better. This is taking up enough of that blank space that we had here around this focal collage. Now I'm going to use my G2 again to do just a little something else to each of these. I don't want them to be too spectacular. There we go. Just darkening up some of these centers. And playing up some of these shapes on the petals. Alrighty, I'm going to finish this job, and I'm going to use a little of my distress ink around the outside of these papers, these two pages, and I'll be back. Well, this has been a very interesting spread, because at one point I really thought that this was going to be a fiasco, and I did learn quite a lot about saving my own bacon on this. This is not a super solution, but it is one that I was able to use. And right now I'm thinking about whether or not I need some growth lines in those petals in these flowers, and I'm not sure. I do wish I could hear your opinion, but I can't. I think I'll just use this real fine one. So as not to force me to get too carried away. I always find that adding a little bit of that forced reality sometimes is a good thing. And now with this wonderful 0.25 Muji pen, I don't have to worry about it at all becoming overpowering. And I am honestly hardly touching this paper, and I still get those lovely grow lines. And here. Here. If you have enjoyed watching my fun and my struggles, please give me a thumbs up, share with a friend, leave a comment, and I do enjoy them and I do try to answer them. So, I would certainly also be very appreciative if you would subscribe to my channel. Let's have a good close-up look now. Still had some of that gray print showing through here and here. And this, in its own strange little way, helped that. Well, another spread in my Florals journal. Bye now.